Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 11 of Ora-Ora Live. My name's Odette, and I'm the Director of Operations at the Gallery. So today I am very excited and also very privileged to be amongst three talented young artists here in Hong Kong. For those who have been following our show a bit more regularly, you might recognize Rose Lee and also Janet Wong. They were guests on a previous episode with artist Kingsley a special episode that we did at Asia Society a few weeks back. So during that episode, we started a very interesting and very insightful conversation with these two artists, but it was very much cut short. So that's why this time we've brought them back. So we've got more time to kind of explore topics that they would like to speak about. And this time joining us is their fellow student from Baptist U, which is Cassie Liu. So welcome. Welcome for joining us today. Before we get started, I'm just going to give each artist a quick introduction so you guys know a bit about them and their background. So first, sitting next to me, we have Janet Wong. So she is currently in her final year at BU, completing her bachelor's degree in visual arts. She is also the president of their graduation exhibition. And as an artist, she mostly focuses on installation-based works, drawing inspiration from the details of daily life. Then next to her, we have Cassie Liu. She's also in the same class as Janet, so also completing her final year in visual arts. Similarly, also an installation artist, focusing on lens-based media, for example, video, and also sound. And she acts as the chief editor for the grad show team. And last but definitely not least, we have Rose Lee. So she first graduated from the Chinese University in Fine Arts, and now she is in her second year of her PhD studies, also at Baptist U. Her current research topic, which is very interesting, is recontextualizing Cantonese opera in contemporary Hong Kong. And she's also a practicing artist. So I think to start the conversation, one of the commonalities between the three of you, obviously besides artists, is that you are still completing your studies. So for Janet and Cassie, being in your final year and preparing for your grad show, this is obviously something that's very important. It's basically the finale of your 4 years as an undergraduate student. So I think a lot of people might not really know the concept of a grad show, or perhaps our viewers have questions about what you really do behind the scenes. So I think this is a perfect opportunity. We can ask you a few questions, learn a bit more about the process. So perhaps my first question to Janet, who's the president of the grad show, what goes into the preparation in the entire process?
Well, actually, we basically do everything really. So ranging from like thinking of a theme to suit all the works, and then to allocating all the students' work within the campus, and then finding sponsors and publishing promotions, making sure planning all those supporting programs, for example, like guided tours and artist talk. So we basically really, it's the first time ever that we will have the chance to really include all of the students and create a show of our own. So that is a very interesting process, I would say. Yeah. Well, we actually started in October last year, so that is over half a year already. And because there are around 124 students for this year's grad show, so we will have to collect all those informations, their artist statements, and all about them to really publish specially designed catalog for them and a website for them, so that the general public and also interested gallery can contact them and maybe find interest in them to promote all our students well. Yeah, so it's a very good chance and very good platform for other students as well as Hong Kong galleries to get in touch with them. In my positions as in president of the committee and also at the same time artist, I really have to ensure that I'm not going to use my power to make sure I get a better space or my friend get a better space. So I think that is more of a challenge to me this year, really. Yeah.
For sharing. And then I think next I'm interested to maybe ask Cassie a bit about her experience with the grad show as well. So obviously she's the chief editor, and as Janet was explaining, she's in charge of a lot of the text, all the press releases, curatorial statements, a lot of the writing. But I'm more curious to understand more about, I guess, as an artist from that perspective. How did you choose the direction of like your contributing artwork to the show?
Actually, I think talking about my own work for the grad show, I think it's just like all of my other works. It's just a process of inspiration and realizing what I would like to do. So I think the grad show project is absolutely important, but I just want to treat it like a normal art project. Yeah. Theme is actually decided by the committee. So we will, because the committee is kind of in charge of the curation of the exhibition, to make sure that all the work are presented in a way that that attract audience, or like be presented like in the best way. So the committee will come up with the concept. So the concept we discuss within the large group in our committee, and my role is literally just like verbalizing all the ideas and construct the concept and write it down, and make sure that most of the audience will find it easy to understand. So actually, if talking about my own work, I think it's just a process that fits my own like preference. So it's my own work. But for grad show, like coming up with concepts and other things, I have to like take into consideration a larger audience. So I like writing. So I like coming up with concepts and theorizing things. So I think in that from that point of view, I think working within the committee is actually a quite interesting process, because as Janet had mentioned, that the editorial team is basically in charge of like editing all the artist statements and work labels all the graduates submitted to us. So in the editorial process, I actually get to know all the works by our graduates and get to know what they're doing and get to know them better. So it's quite interesting to like really understand our fellow graduates' work. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then Rose, so you obviously have gone through the whole grad show scenario before, but today I'm more interested to really learn about your PhD experience.
Right.
So my first question to you is, why did you choose to complete your PhD in visual arts? I think it's a very interesting decision, and hope you can share a bit more about that.
Actually, we have been talking about a lot about grad show, right? So it started when I was graduating, and then I was doing my graduation work, and that was the first time that I started writing about my artwork, and it was a completely new experience for me, and it's completely different from making and creating with your own hands. It's more about the conceptual and also the background or the analysis that goes into the artwork itself. So I think that was a very exciting experience for me. And then I found that I was actually interested in writing more and also researching into the different perspectives, into looking into my work and practice. And that was a starting point of considering for a PhD program. And the second reason is that I think, as I am a Cantonese opera performer and practitioner, and I think there are certain things that is difficult to do or achieve in the cluster of Cantonese opera, and that I would need to actually do it in another way, in the academic and also artistic practice way. And that was the second reason for pursuing a PhD, and it also fits into my kind of interest in doing different kind of discipline and actually trying to find a point in which I could create something without boundaries.
I applied for MPhil, so Master of Philosophy first. And the interesting thing is that I actually got my interview in the Netherlands, and it was through Skype. And it was the first virtual kind of interview that I've done, and it felt very strange for me, but it's very, very different from seeing people face to face. Like nowadays, because of technology and also the situation, we're doing a lot of virtual interviews and even like online Zoom talks. Yeah. So I think that was the first thing that I found interesting about the beginning of my PhD application. And the second interesting thing is that my confirmation of candidature in March this year actually is also conducted through Zoom. So that was like a double virtual experience for me. And for that confirmation, I actually conducted a performance. So I was thinking about, in times like this, what can artists do in terms of creating through technology and also bringing a different experience of your practice and artwork through social media. So I turned it into kind of a scripted performance with images and also a reading together. It's like reading into my diary, my process of creation. And that was another exciting experience for me as well. That's a very challenging question, actually. And there are a lot of different thinking into what an artist do. And also you can talk about it very academically, but I tend not to do that. And I think for an artist it's very important to bring new ways of seeing into daily lives as well as your own living experience. For example, for my PhD, a part of it will be about writing my first-hand experience in performing Cantonese opera. So it is questioning what is my role of being a practitioner in terms of art and also Cantonese opera. And it's also about first-hand experience. And I think that would be an interesting kind of point to go into something that is quite unfamiliar with the public. And I think an artist always bring new perspectives into seeing. So I think Rose was talking more about like the responsibilities a bit more. So I think maybe I'll continue with more like what I think about art in general for myself. I think the reason why I'm kind of determined to like do art is because, first of all, I am a person who is interested in a lot of different things. I'm interested in a wide range of things. I think art is the medium that I can bring those interests into my practice, into what I'm like obsessed with. Yeah.
I do art to record all the things I've observed in my daily life. That's why I say like I draw inspiration from all the details in my daily life. At the same time, because I think everything we experience is history. Maybe not to all the other, maybe not like collective memories and history, but it's definitely a kind of history. So to me, art is just recording history in a different perspective. From a person's history, you will always see what is going around in the society as well. So I think that is the main role of art for me. Yeah.
What are your plans after graduation?
I have always dreamed of being an artist. And being an artist does not mean that you are working 24/7 on creation. It means that you could take inspiration and also devote most of your time in your life in creation, no matter is in writing, is in music, or is in artistic practice. I think that still remains my dream. Although concretely, how should I proceed with pursuing this dream is changing with situations, but I think it still remains my dream to be an artist.
Let me start. Well, my plans have definitely changed a bit because of current situations. I was planning to continue my studying after this, but because of the situations, I will have to postpone it. But I think it might be a good time for me to rethink how I should approach this further study. And to be honest, maybe it might not bad for me to find work and experience life differently for a year before I move on to continue studying. So I would definitely still continue studying, just maybe not yet. Yeah, and see what life brings us to.
I think both Rose and Janet are talking about like short-term planning after graduation. That is definitely important. I'm also like considering continuing my education, but maybe not this year. Maybe 1 year or 2 years later. I'm still deciding. I also want to talk about like long-term planning. Because I think as art student, we're educated to become artists. We are educated to create artworks, but sometimes maybe that's not what everyone wants to do, or that's not an option for everybody. I do think that being an artist is not a profession for me. Maybe it's an identity more, like being an artist maybe means you have the power or the freedom or the opportunity to create. But like Rose said, it's not 24/7. It's not a job for me, at least not yet. And I don't think that maybe in the future I will think about it that way, even if I'm creating artwork 24/7. It's more an identity to me. So in that case, I think being an artist is what I choose to do. It's what I can always do, even if I'm like doing different jobs or studying different disciplines. Yeah.
Good, it's great. I'm loving the energy. Before we wrap things up, I just want to thank you.
So come to our grad show. It will be fun, really. Visit us.
And we'll share those details, and you should all go to BU and see their grad show.